Wow, what transform is that?
I don't know.
I didn't realize they had regional dialects.
They drafted a couple of GoBots. Oh, he's a tank. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, that's enough of that. Welcome to another edition of Comic Shop Talk. This is Chris Mills, your host, with Ken Lee in the middle, Crank File, read the blog, it's awesome, and Phil Hamill in front of the camera for the second time.
Hello, it's me, the producer man.
Producer man, producer dude.
Wait, who's producing
Peanut
the
Gallery.
Oh, it's me.
Oh, okay.
I don't see anyone back there.
There's actually four of me, but don't. Oh crap.
We've cloned Phil, so don't say a word. They might get mad. That might be illegal.
Producer guy. Stop it.
Anyhow, we're here for another episode, and it is, November. We're quickly approaching a special day of thanks. So no turkeys here, unfortunately. We did a good meal over at the Quaker Tavern, though. So little plug there for the local fair, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's great. What are they giving us for that plug again?
They're not giving us anything. They're not aware of it.
Right.
Hopefully they'll watch it. Maybe they'll find out and then give us some free apps afterward.
I don't know. I was seeing the crowd around the Quaker Tavern. Didn't really look like the kind of guys to be watching this video.
No,
but,
no, that's true. Just try reading some comics in the restaurant. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Comics.
Comics?
Comics.
That's Tyler's line, but he's not here tonight.
Yeah, I figured. I carry the torch in his absence.
I'm glad that someone was here to provide that. All right, so I think for Marvel, we're going to be talking about some what if comics. That's a blast from the past, right?
Yeah,
A lot of what ifs.
yeah. You want to explain what these what ifs are?
Yeah, what ifs? Well, geez, back when I first started reading comics, back in the early 90s, actually, is really when I started. And what if comics were kind of a thing at that point. So they were kind of these, if the story didn't go as we know it historically with our favorite characters, what if their paths diverged into, different, they took different courses. Like what if, I don't know. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here, but I mean, what if Dr. Doom wasn't a villain or whatever it is?
What if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four? I think was one of the early ones. They had what if Jean Grey hadn't died and the Phoenix Force still was allowed to live.
There we go. So it's all these alternative worlds and the stories that could have been, and so Marvel has recently brought the idea back. Their House of Ideas has kind of dusted this one off a little bit, and it's been, like I said, about 20 years since we've actually seen these types of books, I think.
They may have revived them at some point, but yeah, it's been a while since they've done what ifs.
Yep. So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the whole producer guy.
Not touching the mic cables.
I don't know who's doing that, but stop it.
It's just your hair.
Oh, my hair?
No.
your hair.
It's my hair.
It's my glorious hair.
One of us has to have it. I mean, come on. Gwen Stacy, in the Spider-Man series, she died at the end of the Silver Age? Yes?
Maybe a little later than the Silver Age. She died around somewhere time in the Bronze Age.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing with Spider-Gwen and all that stuff, could that have spawned from a what if? What if Gwen Stacy hadn't died?
Kind of. It was a bit of a what if. That was a spider-centric what if. Spider-Gwen came from the Spider-Verse event that they had.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was in 2014.
That makes sense.
And the plot of the Spider-Verse is that there's a multiverse, and in many of these multiverses, they have what they call a spider totem. basically their version of Spider-Man.
Okay.
So in Spider-Gwen's version, she was the one that was bitten by the spider. She became the Spider-Person of that universe.
Okay.
And then, due to popularity, she got brought into main continuity, and she's had like 3 of her own solo series, unexplainably.
Okay, I thought that might have been something that was spawned from a What If.
Well, for example, Jane Foster being Thor, the first time that happened was in a What If issue.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's in the past, it's been a place where Marvel could just kind of chuck weird ideas at the wall, and if something stuck, they could bring it in.
Yeah.
Another popular character that came from What If was May Parker.
Ooh, I forgot about that, actually.
The Spider-Girl, who had her own solo series at one point, but she originally was in a What If where Peter and I believe MJ had a daughter, and the daughter had spider powers.
She's back, by the way.
She in
There's
Spider-Girl?
a Spider-Girls comic now.
Spider-Women.
Spider-Women? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Spider-Girl is one of the Spider-Women in the comic, so...
Kind of
She's a little bit younger than everyone else.
Yes. So, anyway.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about that title.
We're talking about What Ifs in general.
Exactly.
In the past, they would have this... the What Ifs were narrated by the Watcher, right?
Yes, that's right.
Uta the Watcher. Basically, he's this cosmic being that basically observes everything that happens in the Marvel Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be the one to pose these questions. He would be able to see these important junctures in time when a certain event happened with significance. And then he would raise a question, well, what if things went the other way?
Prior to Original Sin, when he got killed.
Right, and actually, that's interesting because in these What Ifs, they're no longer narrated by the Watcher.
Right.
Actually had someone else narrate one of them.
The Unseen, I believe is what he was called in this collection.
And who...
At least that's what he's hoping.
Who was the Unseen?
The Unseen is, by his own admission, Nick Fury.
Which Nick Fury? Comic version or
comic
MCU?
Version. Comic version.
I would imagine original one-eyed Nick Fury, right? We haven't seen him in a while. Maybe that's what he's up to.
Original,
yeah, that would be kind of cool.
White-skinned, blonde-haired Nick Fury, not what they're doing. Not MCU Nick Fury.
Reed Richards with an eye patch.
Yeah, basically. If Reed Richards was blonde,
I don't know how he became the Watcher.
All those white comic guys look alike.
I can't tell apart. That's why they need the costumes.
That's right.
It's their identifying mark.
We digress. So we got to do a slew of What Ifs, and there were some interesting ones. We got a What If magic had to become the Sorcerer Supreme. What if the Fantastic Four had different powers? I thought that was a pretty interesting premise. Weird powers.
Mm-hmm.
What if Flash Thompson had become Spider-Man? This was probably the weirdest of the ones that we read. What if Marvel Comics went metal with Ghost Rider?
I'm so confused about that one.
This one was extremely meta.
Robbie Reyes actually worked for Marvel Comics. Not just a character in Marvel Comics.
He was working for Marvel Comics.
He was an intern at Marvel, yeah.
And he was also the Ghost Rider. Still.
And he was still the Ghost Rider. So, is Marvel telling us that this is all real?
Yeah.
The truth is out there.
Yeah.
We have what if Thor was raised by the Frost Giants?
Mm-hmm.
And what if Peter Parker became the Punisher?
Yes. What if indeed? Yes, my favorite, the Punisher.
Yeah, puns that actually stick.
So,
oh, Ken, you're putting at least $1 in.
Okay, well, that's the show, folks. Have a good night.
Goodbye, everybody.
That part's going to end up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we'll see.
All right.
The only funny thing I've said this entire time. All right.
That's not true, Ken.
So, I mean, we can go through all these, but I think the ones we want to talk about, the ones that we enjoyed the most out of this batch, at least so far, were the 2 Spider-Man stories.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk about the Flash Thompson one, because I think this one goes all the way back. Like, it shows shades of, like, Amazing Fantasy 15, like the old first appearance of Spider-Man, the wrestler, the robber, the whole responsibility thing. But basically, in this one, instead of Peter Parker being bitten by the radioactive Spider-Man, is Flash Thompson gets bit by Spider-Man. Thompson. And because he doesn't quite have Peter's demeanor and his aunt and uncle to kind of guide him into this moral way, he becomes kind of a... so we got Flash Thompson, who becomes Spider-Man, and because he doesn't have the same morals as Peter Parker, he becomes kind of a douche.
Yeah?
To put it in the nicest possible way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
becomes a real Chad.
Chad.
Yeah. It's like that whole, like, bad stereotype with jocks, in high school. They might mean well, but kind of the meathead thing a little bit. Don't really know how to handle their popularity at times.
He definitely seems like he gets his powers in, like, just like he peaks, right? He peaks real soon, and then...
He literally peaked in high school.
Yeah.
And then just...
Yeah. And that's... No offense to jocks out there, by the way. Love you. Because, you know what? I aspired to be one, too. But anyway. I digress. So, so what goes wrong for Flash Thompson, aside from the general... as you say, douchiness.
He's a violent dude, right?
Yeah.
He's a violent man, just aggressive guy. And he's a kind of just like not as a intelligent Spider-Man. He gets himself in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. And again, we're going to reiterate as we do in every episode, but spoilers. Spoilers here. In post, I'm going to put a time code. In this space around my hands.
Cool. Can you put something in my hands too?
You might not like what I put in there, but sure.
Can you put one in mine too? Just kidding.
Okay, you've had plenty of time to click away. Flash kills Peter. Just straight up punches him into the wall of a trailer and just breaks his tiny little nerd body against the wall.
So in this universe, Peter's still a photographer,
weakling
for the Bugle, and he ends up putting a tracker on Flash's suit and tracks him down. Now the pictures he takes kind of shows Flash in a less than flattering light.
Yes,
that's
right.
Very negative.
Yeah, really highlighting the violence and kind of what an asshole this Spider-Man is.
But Jameson loves it. It's the biggest twist of all.
But Flash means well, though. He really is trying to do heroic things, and but he's not getting the idea that he's getting flack his direction, and he's like, why aren't people appreciating what I'm doing?
I'm just trying to protect them.
I'm just trying to protect them, and I'm trying to do the right thing here, and everyone thinks I'm a monster, or a bad guy, and so you can kind of understand his reaction. But he's immature.
Yeah, he's salty about the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's still very much a child about the whole thing of being a superhero.
Yeah.
He's not really thinking about the consequences.
Right. Yep. And so things go horribly wrong, and then guilt overtakes him.
Yeah. Right? And eventually he comes to the realization that he's not a hero.
That's right.
And it's a pretty sobering moment. And what I thought was interesting is the way they played certain moments from this book. A lot of the beats are taken from classic, like, Silver Age Spider-Man comics.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
There's that classic scene of Spider-Man being crushed under the weight of the machinery, right?
Yep.
And in the real Spider universe, the Marvel universe, Spider-Man, realizes that he has all these people that count on him and that he has to be a hero, and using that power is able to cast off the weight of this machinery. Flash goes through the exact same situation, but he comes to the exact opposite realization at the end that he's not a hero.
That he's more of a monster than anything else.
Yes, and that causes he still gets the power to throw it off, but it was also a realization for him that what he was doing was wrong, and he ends up turning himself in at the end of the issue.
That's right.
And it was a very sobering Spider-Man tale, very dark.
A very dark tale, and but at the same time, it's funny because Flash ends up doing something heroic by turning himself in at the end. So
Yes.
he really does, in some weird abstract way, become a hero.
This is something else.
Because he could have had the power to just continue to do what he was doing and cover up his crimes and you know continue to be who he was.
Well, I think this plays directly to the kind of the core of Spider-Man, responsibility and power.
Yes.
And that at the end, he does finally learn that lesson that with his power, he must have great responsibility.
That's right.
Something else too in this comic, Aunt May is very sick, as I'm pretty sure she is in the original too. Like, she's not well.
She has some kind of cancer or something. Some weird...
Yes, she has a cancer that requires a very specific treatment. And the reason that Peter looks for Spider-Man in this is that shipment was stolen by, I think they called him the Mastermind.
Or the Master Planner.
The Master Planner, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And the Master Planner is actually Doc Ock, and Flash goes in and he tries to get this treatment for Peter's aunt, and that's when the whole thing comes crashing down on top of him. He actually gets that stuff, and unless I'm remembering this wrong, he uses that to save Aunt May.
Yes.
Which is probably the first selfless thing he did as Spider-Man, but at the cost of Aunt May and Uncle Ben now don't have Peter. Right. Which I think that's more devastating than just losing Aunt May.
Right. Agreed.
I mean, that's the real push and pull of this one, is that there's selfless acts, but ultimately there's costs for it. And at the end of it all, you do have to pay for your actions in some way or another.
Being a hero isn't easy business. No. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'd all like to think that if we got the superpowers of Spider-Man that we'd use them for good, but let's be honest. I mean, just like use that temptation to use it for all the wrong things.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're all human. We're going to make bad choices. We can't deny that.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, but all in all, a great what-if story. I mean, I think the what-ifs have been kind of a mixed bag so far. I think the ones that I've read. But this was definitely one of the more solid ones, and I think that leads us into another Spider-World type what-if comic, which was, I think, equally good.
Before we go on, I also like to say I love these covers. Like, they're homages to like old different like comics. I think this is supposed to be like the original Punisher #1.
Punisher #1, yeah, limited series. Yep.
I love that they're making those covers. So, as you can assume from the title in this series, this book, Peter takes a very different approach to crime fighting than the one we know.
Yes. Yes.
It's more rad, though. I will say that. It's definitely very creative and just dang old cool, man.
So in this one, again, we the same thing happens to Peter Parker. He's bit by the radioactive spider. The spider, curiously, has a Punisher symbol on his...
I noticed that, too. I thought it was very strange. Like, why did you genetically engineer this spider to have a death skull on it?
That looked cool.
Yeah.
He had also, like, little white go-go boots on his...
I gotta double check that. Was that?
No, I didn't.
I was gonna say, I don't remember that.
And so then Parker, of course, develops his wrestling get-up. He's got the skull on it, and of course the same thing happens with a criminal. Quit it.
Dude, the producer's slacking.
I know, right? It's almost.
What are you doing back there, Phil Clone? All right.
We still got a few kinks to work out on this cloning technology.
It's like that movie, Multiplicity. Oh, there goes another Michael Keaton reference. Each clone is a little less sharp than the last.
My homunculi need to get their act together.
The fourth Phil clone is shaving his tongue right now.
He's just drooling.
Oh, God!
All right. So
tastefully not shown for your convenience.
So anyhow, he sees the criminal that is running away from the cop. Basically run right by him. The cop's like, please, stop him. And he's like, that's not my job, it's yours, type of thing. And of course, the events that you expect happen. with his Uncle Ben getting killed, and that sets Parker on this new mission, which basically is, well, as you'd expect, a lethal one. But of course, his targets are other super villain type targets
Yes,
that we see in the book, right?
His repertoire of villains. He's not necessarily putting in jail. A lot of them, it seems like he's just straight up murdering them.
Yeah, he's just wasting them.
Mm-hmm.
He outfits his web shooters so they don't just shoot webs, but they also shoot bullets. And
all different kinds of bullets.
all different types of bullets.
Basically, if you can just like picture it in your head, like, oh, this kind of bullet, sure, in a sci-fi or a comic book,
Yep.
he can shoot them out. Like, I think he has like an EMP bullet.
An EMP, he had like armor piercers, he had all sorts of crazy stuff.
Like incendiary bullets. It's like what? What?
This is not a Peter Parker that believes in second chances.
No.
He believes in justice and punishment.
That's it.
Justice and vengeance at all costs.
The Sinister Six are victims.
He's the first victims, and he's super effective at it too.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And obviously after Spider-Man deals with these guys once, they don't show up in subsequent Avengers because they're all dead.
That's it. The Rogues Gallery is a bunch of one-offs.
Yeah.
And
Real monster of the week kind of character comics now.
Yeah.
exactly. Except for one particular character who seems to
Just
have
never
eluded
gonna
him.
die.
Green Goblin.
Yes.
And his best friend's father, of course, behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And this, of course, leads in what direction?
Well, I mean, towards the end, a couple things happen that are different. Obviously, in the real Spider-Man universe, Gwen Stacy dies, and Peter's friend Harry finds out about this, and this all kind of drives him crazy, and eventually turns him to pick up the Green Goblin mantle.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what happens here, does it?
No.
Make
Stop it.
Make a popcorn over there.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe
Snap,
that's what
crackle, pop.
So instead, he saves Gwen Stacy.
He does.
Yeah,
That's right.
Saves her life.
He does. It didn't look like he was going to, but it
I
happens.
actually, like, when I saw that crash, I'm just like, oh, I felt that. No,
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I thought she was broken completely.
But, he kills Green Goblin.
Yep.
And Gwen Stacy is alive because of it.
That's right. But then that event kind of just makes him, he realizes that his love for Gwen Stacy is not worth the mission any longer.
He gives up being Spider-Man.
He gives up being the, I like to call him the Spinisher.
The Spanish.
Yep.
Does he though? Because I thought I saw like there was like a shootout, and then he like goes back to the alley where like the Spider-Man Spider Punisher suit was like thrown away, and he was like
Not
pulling
him.
it back.
Not him. That
No?
was Frank Castle.
Yeah, that's
So it shows that eventually
Oh,
Frank
that's right.
Castle
That's right.
is
Okay.
not. He ends up being the second person to don the Punisher outfit.
Okay, that's right. That's what it is.
So in this what if, things proceed as normal.
Punisher is Punisher, but there's no Spider-Man to stop him.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
we forget the Punisher is more or less a villain when he first showed up.
He is, yeah. I mean,
Basically
definitely the
trying
first.
to take out Spider-Man.
He's basically a gun for hire, right? So yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's a great story. I loved it. Great
Yeah.
story. So, no pun intended there either.
Or was it?
All right, maybe a little bit.
What if it was?
What if Chris didn't like puns? So up
Send your
next,
iced coffees too.
aside from iced coffees, we have
We got some DC.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We got a couple DC.
We got some DC. First is something another kind of weird alternate universe type comic. We have Old Lady Harley.
I never like. Where did they get that title from?
Right. Clearly, it worked with Old Man Logan.
I don't know that dude.
Old Man Logan was Steve McNiven and Mark Millar, I believe, who wrote this. futuristic dystopian tale of Wolverine living in the Badlands in this crazy future that was run by radioactive Hulks.
That's right.
Old Lady Harley, obviously it's a Harley title, so it's kind of a send-up of that genre. But
none of this formula.
The general idea is the same. It's a future dystopian wasteland, and we have this old woman Harley and an older Red Tool just tooling around the wasteland.
Tyler would be very happy to know Red Tool is prominently featured in this one.
He is all up in this comic.
Yep. Yes,
so,
he is.
Remind me, is Red Tool just basically DC's answer to Deadpool?
Yes. And Deadpool was Marvel's answer to
Slade Wilson, yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, they say imitation is the best form of flattery. I say it's just cheap.
It's all very meta, and like this book definitely has a lot of meta stuff into it. It definitely does not take itself serious. A lot of references to pop culture. They reference like White Walkers in here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Dukes of Hazzard stuff.
Oh, the Dukes of Hazzard reference was awesome.
Can I just say, like, from the cover alone, can we take a minute to appreciate the fact that Joker's skull has the red lipstick on it? Like,
yes, we can appreciate that.
This Joker, like, don't got no skin, but it's just like, I gotta make sure my makeup is still on.
Still got a creepy smile.
I'm literally smiling all the time on the fact that I am always I'm all teeth all the time, but I still gotta put the smile on.
It's raining kaijus.
Yeah,
that was another moment.
Yeah, so at one point the bad guys are firing this monster launcher, and this thing just shoots. It shoots monsters that gestate, and they land fully formed.
Yeah,
and it's pretty hilarious.
Yep.
They got this weird Clockwork Orange Joker gang, and they go back to Gotham, and there's this robotic gang of Azraels, and we have a Batman Beyond appearance at the end as well.
I love the fact, and you pointed this out earlier when we were talking about it, was the Azrael reference to the Smurfs.
Yeah, I only know him as the guy with the cat from Gargamel.
It's fantastic.
His weird ginger cat.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, it was a fun, weird Harley book.
Yep.
And I thought it was kind of kooky. And we got the Batman Beyond, so I know that Phil's going to be...
This makes me so happy.
He was just asking, literally, minutes before the shoot, whether or not there was a Batman Beyond book that was still out. And there you go.
Guys, Batman Beyond. I know Tyler's like, oh, DC, you know, DC. I love Batman Beyond. Just putting it out there. It's like it's one of my favorite Batman series.
Don't let the hair fool you.
I know,
if
right?
If Wayne were here, he would agree with you. He'd back you up on that.
Yeah, Wayne, big Batman Beyond.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely. It's an entertaining story, and do we know how many issues it's going to run?
It's a five-issue miniseries.
5 issue.
So it'll be pretty easy. I think it's going to be fairly popular because it was funny.
Yep.
And if it is, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of Old Lady Harley.
Me neither. Yeah.
Who knows?
People love Harley.
They do. They do. She's had no shortage of titles in the past year or so. Like, at one point, I think she had like 3 titles going on at one time, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like she had the little black book, the Gang of Harleys, and then
there was also
the regular
Batquin or something like that too.
Batquin?
I think I saw that.
Really?
Like there was like an issue. There was at least maybe 1 or 2 issues where she was like something similar to Man Bat, where she had like bat ears and was eating like.
Oh, that was the main. That was the main series.
Oh, that was main. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad, guys.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not a real comic book fan. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love my work, guys.
Pinch hitter?
Say again?
Pinch hitter.
Sure.
Situational.
Situational.
It's all good. What do we have next in DC World?
We got some Aquaman.
Oh, yes.
We're doing some Aquaman.
From the depths.
We got Aquaman. Grounded Earth.
Yeah. New movie coming out at some point here soon.
Like how we got the Momoa Aquaman on this cover.
Yes. That's right. The cool Aquaman.
The cool Polynesian.
The badass Aquaman.
The buff Polynesian Aquaman.
Yes. So, this is a quite a big event, right? Pulling in lots of different aspects of the DC universe.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, sure. This is tying in stuff that we've seen from No Justice.
Yep.
Some of the storylines that have been pulled together from Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all coming ahead. I don't know if this is necessarily considered a crossover-ish series, but it kind of has that feeling.
It does. It does have that feeling. The concept, I guess, is that we have one of the old gods of Atlantis, so to speak, is back and wants Atlantis, and not just Atlantis, but the world.
Yes.
So it's going to be another one of those like Atlantis attacks. Oh wait, that's the Marvel version. Sorry.
Is Namor in this?
No Namor. Going to be another one of those. The surface world's going to pay for the sins of the past type things, and but so is all of Atlantis, for that matter.
So the back history was that these old gods of the ocean were sealed away for hundreds of years by Poseidon, I believe, and also some power that Aquaman possesses.
It's his power to like hear and speak with the ocean.
That's good. I thought you could say fish.
And fish, yes. His power to speak with fish is what held these old gods at bay.
But the
I like what you did there, at bay.
At bay.
Yes, thank you.
Nicely done.
Just in case it didn't quite get over people's heads.
Are you harboring any other nuggets there? Sorry.
We'll set course and find out.
Okay.
Come on, guys. It's very late, guys. We're very tired.
Okay, officially gone overboard.
Yes. Second funny thing Ken's ever said.
Oh, I love my job.
Gosh.
So
We're drowning in puns. Okay.
Okay. As you were saying, Ken.
At some point, we're gonna talk about this comic.
Let's get this back on track.
So these the old gods, what they're doing is they're flooding the world with it's not just an ocean, it's a magic ocean.
Yes.
And it's turning everybody that falls into this this magic ocean water into monsters. It's pretty crazy. It's flooded Gotham.
Yep.
It's flooded Metropolis. At one point, Superman almost goes down into it, and you're thinking, "Holy crap! What happens if he gets turned?"
Yeah. Yep. In Gotham, we saw Commissioner Gordon turn into a monster.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And we see some unlikely alliances. We see Mera teaming up with Ocean Master in order to fight this thing, and releasing Ocean Master from captivity to fight this.
That's right. So that's a pretty cool team up.
And then we got a big something big happens towards the end of the issue. We see the appearance of Black Manta.
Yes.
Aquaman's nemesis.
And Black Manta is basically in league with the gods, the old gods.
He's made some kind of deal with them.
Yeah.
He basically handed the world over to them on a plate, and in return, he gets something as well.
That's right. So,
hold on.
That's something. Spoilers. Well, they have Aquaman on his knees and basically take his powers from him and bestow them upon Black Manta. Now, what is the mystery of these powers? We're not even really fully understanding, I think, in the story exactly what the breadth of his powers are.
Yeah, they kind of hint that his powers are more than
he's ever shown.
Yeah, and more than he might even know himself.
Right. So
I think we'll find out more in time, though, right? I mean,
no, probably not.
No problem. No, one could hope. I hope. I still believe Aquaman.
We stay tuned for issue number 2. But yeah, pretty good. It's a meaty story. There's a lot to it.
Oh yeah,
that first book, for sure.
A lot of exposition and content going on in this.
I like the artwork a lot.
Oh, the
artwork is
great.
Fantastic.
Howard Porter does it, and he does a fantastic job, man. The expressions, the action, there's just a ton of energy.
Yep. Absolutely, and you're getting that feeling of dread, throughout the story.
Yeah, it looks like,
things are just spinning out of control, even
Superman
beyond.
can't punch his way through it.
Nope.
Batman's kind of locked himself in the Hall of Justice. He's freaking out. He has no idea what to do.
Yep.
When Batman doesn't have a plan, that you're in big trouble.
Exactly.
You know you're in trouble at that point.
I mean, that dude has contingency plans for contingency plans.
So yeah, definitely grab a copy of that one at your local shop. It's a good one.
Get you in the mood for the movie.
That's right. When is the movie coming out?
It's this month, isn't it?
Is it?
It's either this month or next month.
Okay.
I think it actually might be the end of this month.
End of this month, so a little bit of Thanksgiving.
You know who would know?
Thanksgiving DC treat, right?
Google.
Who would know?
Google usually knows these
Google. Google does usually know these things.
things. Google's a smart cookie.
Hashtag not sponsored by Google. Hashtag could be sponsored by Google. Call me.
Google don't own us.
December 14th.
December 14th.
December. Okay.
So just before Christmas, we'll get a little treat.
Oh wait, no, that's the England debut. December 21st.
December 21st. Okay.
So
Still
even
in
closer
time
to
for
Christmas.
Still
Merry
in time
Christmas,
for
everyone. Here's Jason Momoa.
Well, I know what I'll be doing. I'll be going to the theaters.
Yeah?
Yes.
I'll
Absolutely.
probably be working.
You'll probably be working.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, me too. But hey, you know what? There's time for everything, supposedly. So, we have an indie to talk about as well.
Yes. It's been a while since we really had a good indie to talk about.
Yeah. This one, I saw the first sign of it was an ashcan version.
Yes.
And,
which I have right here.
oh, you have the ashcan version there.
Ooh.
Nice. That is awesome.
Nice.
Yep. And so, pray tell, what is this one about, Ken?
This is Murder Falcon.
Murder Falcon.
Murder.
We're not on Halloween anymore. We
Sounds
can't
very
talk
serious.
like that.
This is my Thanksgiving voice.
What are you talking to your turkey?
That's how he greets his family when they come for Thanksgiving dinner. Welcome. I hope you enjoy the murder. Like, you don't talk like that to your family, Chris?
Every once in a while.
You don't ever bring up murder with your family?
That's what Thanksgiving's all about.
Spending time with family and think about how you want to.
I can't talk about it, otherwise I'd have to kill you.
Okay, you know what? Touche.
Murder Falcon by the very talented Daniel Warren Johnson. This guy most recently did a miniseries called Extremity. That was also published by Image, and it was fantastic. His artwork is just so much fun to look at. And just super vibrant, really got a lot of energy, has a bit of a manga influence to it.
Yep.
So I
didn't notice that, yeah.
I was super excited for this, really looking forward to it. With Extremity, it was very much an anti-war book. It was very deep, had a lot of, dealt with really heavy subject matter like loss of parents, loss of loved ones, moving on from trauma.
Yep.
So I sort of expected a series with the title Murder Falcon to be, a bit more fun and a little more silly, but it actually was. I mean, not to take away from it, it was fun. It was kind of goofy too.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
This
is about the polar opposite of Extremity.
Do you want to give them a synopsis of like basically what the series seems to be about?
I would say this is some kind of cross between Watership Down and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I was totally going to say that.
We are Wild Stallions. So
I gotta play a riff.
I
just feel like a generic riff and just get that in there.
It's unbelievable. I think I was just the very first twist in the story. I was kind of like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just like, all right.
Very WTF.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even know how to characterize that first twist, but basically, what's the setup here? But like,
so there's monsters loose in this world. They're like these kaiju-looking creatures.
Yeah.
And the main our main protagonist is this guy. He seems to be just down on life.
Washed up rock star.
Yeah, it looks like at one point he was like really showed promise. He's like, up and coming musician, and then due to some personal tragedy, he just stopped playing music. He stopped it, and he just couldn't play the guitar again. Until one day he's attacked by a monster in his apartment, and this half falcon, half robot type just being appears and tells him
he's
to
like
start
the Winter Soldier of birds. Big mechanical arm.
He's like Bucky and the Falcon kind of got together.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically, this half bird, half man, half machine being shows up and tells him start playing guitar. And once he starts shredding, he starts feeding off of the metal, and just starts beating the bag out of this monster. And it's just insane. Like
he's powered up by a
great.
power cord. It's awesome.
It's great. He plays some fast riffs. He's doing machine gun punches. And the artwork is just crazy kinetic.
Yeah.
And,
no joke, guys. There's a line here that says, "The power of metal fuels me."
the power of metal will save the world. It's
so rad.
it's so awesome.
This Murder Falcon, I don't know if you guys can see this. This Murder Falcon has no eyes. How is he metal?
Oh, I think he wears a bandana over him.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe he's squinting under him. I'm not sure.
Who knows?
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on with
I think
this
the
guy.
important thing is to not think too deeply on this or try to make too much literal sense out of it.
So many independents tend to go that more serious, deep root, and this was just straight out, just fun. Just shut your brain down and just have a good time with it.
It was metal. That's what it really felt like. It was metal.
Yes.
It was just like unadulterated fun.
Yep.
It was just...
Don't thank me, ma'am. Thank metal.
Thank metal.
That's exactly what a mother of a young child wants to hear.
But there was a few also very very tender moments in this. Although the book was very big on showing and not telling this issue, we really don't know much of the backstory or where any of the story's heading. But towards the end, they show you through a series of panels this guy meeting a girl, them getting married, her getting sick, and we assume that she passed away, and that was the reason why he stopped playing music. And there's this really beautiful spread at the end where Murder Falcon and him are sitting on top of his van, and they're overlooking this this quarry, and he asks him if he misses her, and he's like, every day. And there's just this beautiful spread of the two, and it just goes to show how far Daniel Warren's art has come. I mean, that spread is just... I'm going to zoom in on that. Phil Clone number 2, you want to zoom in on that? It was beautiful. It was really touching, especially in a book that was so weird and just off the wall and unabashedly so.
Yeah.
To have a moment of seriousness and emotional connection really got to me, and I thought it was beautifully delivered.
Yep, absolutely. It was a nice blend. We had a little bit of, I wouldn't say most everything, but you just definitely had, like you said, some of the moments are kind of juxtaposed against like the absolute lack of seriousness that the rest of the story held.
Yeah.
So, it was a nice foil.
I agree.
So definitely an entertaining read. Check that one out if you can find a copy. I'm not sure how the circulation was in that book, but yeah, it's definitely worth reading.
Well, still a copy left down
we
here.
got a couple copies here, so
That's right.
Get down here quick.
Only $3.99.
Only $3.99. So, I think. Do we have anything else? I know that we wanted to make mention. I think of the Snyder title there.
Oh yeah, so we had Halloween just last week, and one of the books that came out was a Witches volume. It was the Witches series that ran in the Image Plus magazine. It basically collects all those stories, and this is like an in-between chapter between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, which I believe is coming out next year.
Yep.
So we got the same creative team back. It's going to be Scott Snyder and the artist Jock, and further adventures of Sailor. Looks like she has a son now, and more witches, and I think they're going to dig a little more into the mythology of the witches, where they actually came from, and why they're connected to Sailor.
And that's a highly anticipated second volume, and so to have the bridge stories, basically, that were from the Image Plus magazine, I think maybe more casual comic fans might not be aware that Image Plus is a magazine that obviously Image produces, but has done something to actually give us a little extra story into, like, we had Walking Dead a couple years back.
Yeah,
actually.
right. We had Negan's backstory. Yeah,
Negan's backstory. So these aren't just throwaway things. They're actually like really, they're good pieces of these separate puzzles.
Yeah, nice
right?
nice pieces to world build. Not just just kind of fluff out the world a little bit.
Exactly. And so for fans of the first volume of Witches, you're definitely going to want to pick up this one book, especially since it'll probably be harder to go out and find all the different Image Plus magazines that are out there. I think it was a 12 or 14 parts, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think most stores stopped carrying them after the first 3 or 4. I don't think they sold very well.
Right. So definitely pick up that one and get ready for 2019 and the new Witches volume.
Yeah.
So, but that is all we have for you this month. But we'll be back again at the usual time come December, and after we fill ourselves with all the turkey, stuffing, and pie that we can possibly muster in our diets. And murder, apparently. I don't know. Murder that bird.
I mean, Black Friday is coming up. You know something bad's going to happen. I mean...
Black Friday, that's right. Well, if something bad's going to happen, don't worry. We're going to be holding down the fort here at the shop, right, for Black Friday. While everybody's out getting stampeded at Walmart, we'll be here playing games.
Are you guys Black Friday sailing here?
We'll have a Black Friday sale here. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
going to be stampeding out here.
There could be a stampede here. There's a set of stairs that's even more dangerous.
Oh, no.
So,
no.
Speaking of murder. Anyhow.
Raise that insurance policy.
Yeah, that insurance policy might be. Anyway.
I mean,
Don't
you
worry.
think our neighbor's an insurance policy place, right?
That's right. You can just fall right down the stairs, right to the
Right
insurance
into their
office.
door. Right into their door. They'll be glad to accept you. We're not sponsored, I swear to God.
We're dropping a lot of plugs this show.
That's right.
We're getting absolutely
Cove
nothing.
Insurance. Go sign up for your insurance with Mike Cove. Great guy. We love him. Anyway, thank you once again for watching. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.